All right, let's go and get started. Welcome back and happy April to everyone. Thank you for joining us today. On behalf of the team at IT Solutions, I'd like to welcome you to today's training event. Where are my files? OneDrive, SharePoint, and Teams. We're always looking for ways to bring value to our local business and business communities, and we believe this training is going to fulfill that mission 100%. So IT Solutions is an information technology and managed security provider. For anyone who has a question today, please use the Q&A button in Zoom to bring up the dialog box where you can enter your question. We'll try to get as many questions as possible during the allotted time, but our presenter will be saying after posted time as well if we need to answer any additional questions that we don't get to during the regular presentation time. My name is Jason Cook, and I am the Marketing and Navigator Specialist here at IT Solutions. I work on marketing and training our clients on our customer Cloud Radial Navigator portal. And so that's what I do. And we now hold regular monthly events and would like to get your feedback on any ideas for future topics. We really do appreciate it. So feel free to email me at jec@nextro.com. This is how we get some of our better ideas. I mean, JoLynn's great. She knows all these topics, but if there's something you specifically want to see or you don't see in our database that we've already done, preferably, please let us know. We're happy to take those considerations. So without any further ado, I would like to introduce everyone to JoLynn Rihn, trainer and all-around person of awesomeness, who will be leading our learning journey today. It's a tongue twister. JoLynn Rihn has been teaching Microsoft apps since they were first released. She's a certified trainer and Microsoft Master Instructor with over 30 years experience. She teaches on the basics to advanced features using programs like Teams, Excel, SharePoint, Outlook, ChatGPT, you name it. She's fantastic. So JoLynn, please take us from here.
Sounds good. Thank you so much, Jason. I appreciate that. And welcome, everybody. One of my all-time favorite topics because we all need to know where exactly are our files and really have a little bit of idea as to where should I actually be saving my files. So I'm going to be actually starting out today in my Microsoft account. So I basically just went to the internet. I logged into my Microsoft account. I'm going to start with talking about SharePoint. Because a lot of things that are related to SharePoint, we also can do in the other file storage locations like Microsoft Teams and even OneDrive. So after I'm done with SharePoint, we'll go into Microsoft Teams and talk about how we can utilize things there. Then we'll talk about OneDrive. But just so you're aware, all three of these really work together. And you're going to see that, of course, here today, because we can access a file that is saved within SharePoint, saved within OneDrive, or saved within Teams from multiple locations. So definitely give you a preview of how all that is going to work. So SharePoint is the one I'm going to start with. And what I'd like to do is just open up an existing SharePoint site. So SharePoint is an application that works and feels just like a website, but it has very strict permissions and it's available only to the people that we set it up to have permissions. And kind of the reason I'm bringing that up is because when you are in SharePoint, we're going to be working with what is called a document library. Document libraries are a part of the SharePoint sites that we can store documents in. It doesn't matter what kind of documents, we can have folders within the document libraries, etc. If you have recently, or if you're still using a network drive, it's kind of similar to your network drive, but it's a cloud-based. So we can access SharePoint, Teams, or OneDrive from your mobile device, as long as you have an internet connection and or don't have an internet connection, which I'll talk about by the time we're done with our session today. You'll be able to access your files because of the fact that they are all saved within the cloud, meaning in the internet. So when you have a SharePoint site, whoever is your champion that is setting up your SharePoint site will set it up. And by default, there is one document library always included when a site is created, but we can have as many document libraries as needed based on your organization and how you need to store things. So when we think about network drives, where we had the R drive, the S drive, the H drive, the U drive, etc., things can be in different document libraries, like we had our letters of our storage before. We can have a different document library and give it a name. instead of a letter. We actually give them a name so that we know what's going to be inside them. And another benefit to that is, let's say that one site has 3 different document libraries. Does everybody that has rights to the site, permissions to use the SharePoint site, do all of them actually need access to every document library? Not always. So a great feature with SharePoint is that we can actually set up the permission rights to be different in each document library, depending on where it's located and who needs access to it, etc. So there's a lot of security measures that we have in place that was a lot harder to manage and a lot harder to use back in the network drive days. So if you did open up the handout that was provided to you, it's going to first talk about using SharePoint, working with document libraries. So document libraries are a storage location within the SharePoint site. And I'm going to go ahead and open one. As a matter of fact, I'm going to go to this clinic department sub-site of my intranet. And on the left-hand side of my navigation, I'm going to go directly to the one called Documents. This is a document library that came by default to this SharePoint site. I kept the generic name of Documents, but that could be changed if we needed to. But basically what you're going to see first is a menu going across the top, which are features that are directly related to the entire document library. So one of the features would be New. How do we get files into SharePoint document libraries? If you go to the new category, you could create a new folder. You could create a new Word document, Excel, Visio drawing, whatever it is you have access to. You could create those as brand new files. They would be saved directly to the document library that you're actively in. That's one way. Another option is taking an existing file and uploading it. If I click upload, I could go to my hierarchy of my computer, even if I still had a network drive, and I would be able to then access any of the files that I have. So if I go to, oh, sorry, didn't mean to go into that folder. I meant to go to this folder. Let's say that I want to bring in an Excel file. If I have an Excel file that I want to bring into that document library, all I have to do is navigate to its location, find the file, click open, and it's automatically going to be adding it directly into that document library. You can even drag and drop files into the document library as well. So you don't have to just go to the upload, choose all your files and bring them in. We could actually, well, technically, we could drag and drop them from File Explorer, which we're going to see using File Explorer today. I won't drag and drop, but very easy to just drag them in. Otherwise, if you are transitioning into SharePoint and you had previously been using network drives, there's actually a migration tool that we can use to migrate all of your files into your document libraries, specifically where they need to go. So if you're doing hundreds or thousands of files, we would use a migration tool instead. But anyway, when this file was brought in, you can see that it's now listed within my columns and rows of my current files. And it has this little kind of like crown. I call it a crown. These little lines at the top left of it, that's just letting us know that it was new. Even if you create a brand new file, it's going to show up with that crown just so that you know that it was new. I'll get into a little bit more on the columns and rows and what you can do with these files in a minute. I want to finish out with the top part first. So what you're seeing at the top, besides having the new and the upload, is we have this feature called Grid View. If you turn Grid View on, it allows you to select multiple files and make changes to them all at one time. An example of that would be if I have a specific column, because technically we can modify the columns that we see, the columns of properties and different data about our files. I could add a column that I want to physically type a note in or something. And if I wanted to modify multiple files at once in this grid view, I would be able to do that, just so you know it's available. Not something that you'll probably use on a very regular basis. But the menu at the top has changed when you are in grid view. It's going to also give you this exit grid view. So if you want to put it back to the normal view, you just click that icon. But there's another feature on the menu up at the top that we definitely need to talk about, and that's this add shortcut to OneDrive. Basically, what this means is that we can add a shortcut directly to this document library and have it accessible through OneDrive. Whether you're using OneDrive online, you're using OneDrive through File Explorer, or you're using OneDrive through Microsoft Teams, you will have access to it no matter where in OneDrive you're accessing the information. It will be there for you to use. Okay, so just so you're aware that we have that capability. I will show you an example of that. As a matter of fact, the one that I'm in right now, I do have this linked. I have that shortcut already in my document library. But if you were to click that add shortcut to document library, it would show you the shortcut. Mine right now, the shortcut wasn't added because it's already there. But otherwise, it would tell you that the shortcut is added. Okay. We also have the ability to be able to pin things to the quick access so that you can quickly and easily get back to this document library from other locations as well. But I want to talk a little bit more on some features that we have that are relevant just to SharePoint. We don't always have in programs like OneDrive because SharePoint is built for sharing with other people. We could do live collaboration on files from SharePoint, whoever has rights to those files. We'll talk a little bit on the sharing side here in a little bit, but the reason it's called SharePoint is because it's meant to be used by multiple people. When we get to OneDrive, it's one drive. One means you only. So when you have information that you need to share with multiple people, SharePoint is going to be a great choice for that. But what I want to mention is at the menu going across the top, if you go to the dot, 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 you'll see more options. And one of the features from here is a great choice to use, especially if you are the responsible person for this specific document library. Let's say that this is a document library for the marketing department, and I'm in charge of the marketing department. And I need to know if anybody deletes a file, if they add a new file, or if they make changes to a file. I want to actually know if that happens. I can do what is called an alert. If I click this alert me, what this is going to do is allow me to give a name to the alert and set up exactly, do I want to be emailed? Do I want to be emailed every day? Do I want to be emailed once a week? Do I want to be notified instantly when something happens? And what exactly do I want to be notified of? What type of changes? So up at the top, it just says documents. I'll leave that as the name. You can see that it's going to send it directly to me. It knows my email address. And then where it says change type, I could choose all changes or just when new things are added, etc. I'm going to leave that default of all changes. And then down at the bottom where it says send me an alert when, it wants to know how often do I want. So, and basically what alerts. So if anything changes, or do I just want to get notified if somebody else changes something? So make the choices that represent your need for getting a notification. I'm going to keep all the defaults. I'm going to have it send the notification immediately to me so that when I go in to make a change to a file or delete a file or add a new file, it's going to automatically let me know that something has happened within this document library. So I'm just going to click OK at the bottom or at the top right, bottom right or top right, and that alert has now been set up. Now, where exactly do you get notified? You're going to get notified within Microsoft Outlook. So, of course, OneDrive, Teams, and SharePoint have direct connections, of course, with several Microsoft apps, including Outlook. So we can have notifications go directly into your email. And I'll show you those here as I go through some different things. So that was what I wanted to mention about managing the entire document library. So that alert me is for anything within the document library. But what if I have a file? Like that file that I just added to the document library, which by the way, it alphabetizes. So now it's in the alphabetized list. It's called Excel dashboards here. What if I want to be notified just if changes happen to this one file? I don't need the entire document library, but just this file. We can set up an alert for one or more documents. If I right click or go to the ... menu to the right of the actual name of the file, usually I just right click. It's going to give you a pop-up menu of several different choices as to what it is that you can do to manage that individual file. Notice that I'm hesitating on this one called Alert Me. So if I want to get notified just for this one file, I can do this Alert Me, give it a name, set up, what do I want to be alerted of, what type of changes, etc. All I have to do then is click OK once I'm done making those changes, and any changes to that file will, of course, then notify me that something has changed. Now, I'm actually going to open this file because I just brought this file into the SharePoint document library. And I want to make a few changes to this. As a matter of fact, I'm going to go to this charts worksheet and I'm going to create a new chart just so that you can see what's going to end up happening to all of the changes that ends up happening to the information. So I just made this change to it because it's a cloud-based file, whether it's OneDrive, Teams, or SharePoint, it does have an auto save. So any changes that you do make are being automatically saved. Now I'm just going to make that one change, but I want you to notice that it did open it in a different tab on my internet browser. I still have my tab for my document library and my SharePoint site, but I'm going to go ahead and just close that tab for that Excel file. So I made a change to the file so that I can show you another feature. So as I right click on this Excel dashboards file, I want to talk about a couple of other benefits that you have with right clicking and getting this menu. At the very top, you can actually choose how you want to open the file. By default, it opens it in the online version of whatever the application is. But if you would prefer to open it in the app, which means the desktop app, you can go ahead and do so. So if I right click and I go to open and I say open an app, it's going to open it in my desktop version of Excel. Sorry, that actually went to my other monitor here. So let me bring that over so you can see. So now I'm actually in my desktop version. And one of the reasons I wanted to show you this from the desktop version of Excel is because what if I had a different SharePoint file that I wanted to open, or I want to save a file that I just created in Excel to SharePoint? If I create a brand new file, or I have an existing file and I want to save it to a SharePoint document library, or to Teams, or to OneDrive, we can do that. We don't have to go to the actual app itself. I don't have to go to SharePoint, go to the document library. I don't have to go to Teams, go to the team, go to the channel, go to the file tab. I don't have to go to OneDrive. I can do it like you normally would save things. So if I have this existing file and I do a file save a copy, I can then choose exactly where I want to save it. On the left-hand side, I have access to my OneDrive. So if I wanted to save it to my OneDrive, I can do that because look at, I've got all of these different places that I could save it to. I also could click on sites. This is going to give me access to all of my different SharePoint sites. And these are including Teams, Microsoft Teams, just so you're aware. I'm actually going to choose this one called Clinic. And then, because that's actually the document library that I was in, but it says documents and it says legal documents. So my SharePoint site called Clinic, I was originally in the documents, but I'm going to save this, a copy of this, into the legal documents. So this is the document library coming from the same Clinic SharePoint site. And I'm doing this all directly through Excel. So I'm just going to keep the name and I'm going to click save. So now I just made a copy of it and put it in a different SharePoint document library. I'm going to go ahead and close Excel. Of course, if I wanted to open an existing file, I could do that from there as well. But now that I'm back into my SharePoint document library, on the left-hand side in my SharePoint site, I have this legal documents. That's the one that I was just saving that file to. Here it is. It's new, so it's got the cute little crown on the top left there. But you can see this is the Excel dashboards file that I just saved there. If I open it, it's going to open it in the desktop version by default. If I go to that charts worksheet, you can see that the chart I created earlier is here. So just so you can see, if you want a copy of something in a different location, it's super easy to do. You can do it from lots of different physical locations. But let's talk about a couple of other things when it comes to managing your files. And I'm going to go back to the other document library, the one called Documents. And I'm actually going to go back to that same Excel file, that Excel dashboards, because I want to right click on it again and talk about a few other features that we have. You do have a preview. You could share it from here. You could copy a link to share it as well. We could delete the file. We also could add it to favorites. We have this add shortcut where we could put a shortcut to it. We have a rename option. We can move it. We can copy it. But the feature that I actually want to talk about is right now is called version history. If I click on version history, it will show me the history of this file since it was brought into SharePoint or brought into a cloud-based storage location, whether it's Teams, SharePoint, or OneDrive. It shows me the previous versions of it. So prior to me creating that chart, we had this version 1. So if I click on the first version of that file, it's going to automatically open it. And sorry, it opened it on my other computer here. My other monitor. So what it's going to show you at the very top is the previous version. And it wants to know, do I want to make this the most current version? It's still going to have that version saved where I created the chart. So if I go to the charts worksheet, it's not here because it's in that other version. So if I want to restore this to be the most current, that it doesn't have that chart, I most certainly could. But also, if I do that, or if I open a file from SharePoint, Teams, or even OneDrive, I could have this shared with other people, and other people could be in this file actively with me doing live collaboration. I do have some information about live collaboration in your handout there, but if there were more than one person in the file with you, just so you know, you would actually see their profile circle at the top right. And then it would tell you exactly which cell or the place within the document that that person is. As a matter of fact, here in Excel, the profile circle and there's a border around the cell that they're on, they match colors. So if you had multiple people in there, you'd actually know exactly where they were at. Now, I'm not actually going to restore this previous version. I'm going to go ahead and close it. But just so you're aware that you have the capability of doing that. Now, I'm just going to go ahead and close that because I want to talk about another feature. What if I have this Excel dashboard and lots of other people have access to it? If I'm using Teams or SharePoint, because technically they're the same, and I'll get to that in a second. If I want to actually make some changes to this file, but I don't want anybody else to be in it at the same time as me, I can check the document out. If nobody else has it open right now, I can simply right click and I can check this file out. Now, from this menu, this pop-up menu, if you go down to where it says more, if you hesitate on more, you can click checkout. What this does is adds this red circle to the right of the name of the file. So when people come into the document library, they're going to see that and they know it's checked out. Now I'm going to open it. And let's say that I needed to make a bunch of changes to it. I needed to make some formulas in the background, and they're hidden, or I have a hidden worksheet and I'm going to unhide it, make my changes, and then I'm going to go back and so let me update this. I'm going to say that this is 2023. Oops. I certainly can't type today. And 2024, just so you can see we can come in and we can make any changes that we want. I'm going to format those. So whatever changes it is that you need to make, go ahead and make those. When you're done, close. It's automatically saving it. Now you need to check the file back in. You can simply hesitate on that file. You're going to get a pop-up window giving you the capability of clicking on check-in. So you don't have to right click and go through all that rigmarole. Just hesitate on it, left click on check in. It's going to ask you if you want to add a comment. So if I needed to update things for, I'm going to say updated for 2024 information. I can say what it is that I did when I made those changes. If I click check in, now it's available for everybody else to be able to open. And it added that to my history. Because of the fact that that is part of a version history, because I made changes to it, you can now see that third version of this file since it came into SharePoint. And in the comments column, you can see what I typed in for my note when I checked it back in. So just so you know how that all works together. Some great features that we have, but there's one more feature that I want to mention with this file. What if I actually have finished this file and I'm going to be sending it out to 40 different people? We're all working on this dashboard together and I need to send this out to 40 different people, but I need to get it approved before it actually gets sent out. We have the ability of sending it for sign off. Request sign off is basically what it's called. I'm going to go ahead and right click on the file again. And you could do this with any file within your SharePoint document libraries. And I'm actually going to hesitate on automate. I'm going to hesitate on automate, which is also where we could create rules with workflows and different things. But I'm going to click this request sign off. What's going to happen is on the right-hand side of the screen, it's going to show you that you can actually create a workflow and send it to whoever you need to sign off on it. It's going to email them and it's going to notify them in Microsoft Teams as well. So it needs to know, who do you want to approve this? I'm going to send it to myself so that you guys can see it in my email and know everything that it's doing. The message is because it's going to email. So I would say something like, please review this file before I send it out. Thanks. So that's going to be my email. I'm going to click run flow at the bottom because this is technically a workflow that you just created, but it was super easy. So now I'm going to receive an email message letting me know that I have this file to, and it gives you a link in the email to open the file. Then I can say, yes, it's approved. No, it's not. And I can give a comment. But let me show you Microsoft Teams because it actually is in Teams as well. So let me bring my Teams window over here. And what it's actually going to give me is this notification. Well, it's got to catch up to me here, but it's going to give me a notification. So here it is. I just got a pop up at my bottom right of my status bar as well. I just opened Teams, so it wasn't here immediately, but it is here right now. So JoLynn Rihn sent a request and I can see the pattern of, who requested it, who did they send it to for approval. This is all directly through Teams through the activities category. And down below, I can actually go into more actions. I could cancel it, I could follow up, or I could reassign it to somebody else. I could write in comments and I could approve or reject it. It gives you, of course, the link to it as well. So I could do that directly here through Teams, just so you're aware. But I also received, of course, a notification in Outlook. So let me show you how that's going to look for you. If you want to do it through Outlook, you most certainly can as well. Here's the email I received. So please approve the Excel dashboards. Gives you a link to the file, and then you're going to see the approve reject. I'm going to click approve and I'm going to say, yes, this is good. And I'm going to click submit and tell them, yes, this file is good to go. I use this on a very regular basis. It emails them back and lets them know, and it's tracking all of this within the document library. So let me jump back to the document library. It hasn't updated here yet, but it should have had, it will, as soon as it refreshes here, it's going to have in the sign off status column, it would have pending approval or pending, it just says. Once it's approved, it will say approved, or if it was rejected, it would say rejected. So just so you know, it does add this column automatically when you start using that feature. So pretty cool. It will update here in a second, but anyway, just so you're aware that we have this capability when you are using files through a SharePoint document library. But I want to transition over to Microsoft Teams because some things in Teams work exactly the same as SharePoint. Now, Why does that happen? Well, that's because anytime a team is created, so I'm back into Microsoft Teams. I'm going to go on the left-hand side and I'm going to click on Teams. When a team is created, it actually creates a SharePoint site. So if I go to my accounting department and I go to my channel called Accounts Payable, I have this Files tab at the top right. When I go to Files, that's a document library. So that is SharePoint. So we're technically in a SharePoint document library, but I don't have to go to SharePoint to use it. I can use it directly through Teams, or I can use it directly through SharePoint. Or, as you can see from the menu at the top, I could add a shortcut to OneDrive to have access to this document library, also available through OneDrive. It's not stored in OneDrive. I just have a shortcut to it in OneDrive. So I'm going to click Add Shortcut to OneDrive so that in a minute when I get over to OneDrive, you're going to see that this document library is going to be available directly through OneDrive. But you can see that here in Microsoft Teams, when you have a team created that has a channel, you have the Files tab. Just like with SharePoint, you can actually have more than one document library in Teams. So technically, I could create another place to physically store files in that same channel, just so you're aware. But what you're seeing in mine right now is I have these different folders, which as you can see, you can color code your folders. Just by right clicking, you can now go to folder color and you can change the color of the folders. At first I thought I'm probably never going to use that, but I got to tell you, I use it all the time because I have some people that we have a lot of folders and I have a folder that's red. And I tell the people, this is go to the red folder. It makes it quicker and easier for them to find it. So I actually do like that new feature. That's a recent update that they did. But you're going to see that we also have some very similar features that we saw when we were in SharePoint. So when you right click on a file, any of your files, when you right click, this menu that you're seeing when you right click on these files, you have your open, you have your share, you have a delete. By the way, it is shared automatically with everybody that is a owner, member, or guest of that team or channel, depending on if it's a private channel or a shared channel. But basically, you are going to see almost the same things. You're going to see delete options. You have that add shortcut for that specific file. You can rename it. You can move it. You can copy it. Under the more category, you can actually check it out. So you do get that checkout capability. But what you're not seeing here by default right now, although this is a document library, you're not seeing a couple of the other features like the alert me or the ability to do that workflow for request sign off. That is not directly here as of today. I think that's going to be changing here in the near future. But what if I wanted to actually have a file from this document library here from Teams? I want to set up an alert or whatever the case might be. All I have to do is open this document library in SharePoint. So right now I'm not selected on any of my files. The menu going across the top, I can click on Open in SharePoint. It's going to automatically open this Microsoft team directly in SharePoint, and it took me directly to the documents, to the accounts payable. So this is exactly what I saw. And if I right click, I now will have access to the alert me. I have access to the request sign off. I have every SharePoint feature available because I'm in SharePoint technically. But I'm going to close it from there and jump back into Microsoft Teams here. So when you are in Microsoft Teams, this is a place where people go and save things for collaboration purposes. I love having files right here because I know that anybody that is a part of the team for the accounting department is going to have access to the information that I save in here, unless it's a private channel. Like on the left-hand side, I have this managers. It has this padlock next to it. This is a private channel, so only specific members of the team will have access to it. But here in accounts payable, anybody that's an owner, member, or guest of this team will have access to this document library. You'll notice at the top, we have the same menu. If you want to add a new file, you go to New. If you want to upload a file, we have all of that same capability as we did when we were in SharePoint. So that part of it all works the same. But once again, what if I wanted to create a brand new file and I want it to be saved within this Microsoft Teams accounts payable? Can I do that without having to go open up Teams, go to Microsoft Teams, open the team, go to the channel, then click on File? What if I'm already here? I came in and I started a new Word document, a PowerPoint, whatever the case would be. Right now I'm in Excel. I can always save this to SharePoint, to Teams, or to OneDrive, like I mentioned before. I'm just going to jump into Save As. I can choose sites. When I look at my sites, under my frequent, I see accounting department. That's my Microsoft Teams site. Clinic is SharePoint. If I click accounting department, it shows me the only document library in the accounting department is documents. But then when I drill in, I can go into either the general channel or I can go into the accounts payable. Both of those have that files tab. So if I go to accounts payable, here's all my same files that I had. Now, of course, it's only showing Excel because I'm in Excel. So if I wanted to save a new file here, I'm going to say sales for 2024. I can automatically do that without having to be in the native application. I love that capability. We don't have to jump through hoops to find something, to get to something, or to save something. I don't always go to the SharePoint site. You know, I don't need to be in the site all the time. I just want to get to my file. This would be one way that I can access that file. Now I'm just going to close that one for right now. But just so you know, it has been added to this list then. Wherever it is that I tell it to go, it's going to be there. So I could go to my IT department. I could go to my help desk. Each one of your channels by default is going to have a document library for you to be able to save your files to. But let me go to my clinic, because clinic is actually a SharePoint site. It's a SharePoint site that when I created it as a team site, so it automatically created a new team also. So what you're seeing up at the top is I have my files tab. That's where I could save files to like I normally would, but I could have access to other document libraries from the top as well. Or I could even go into my SharePoint site from here. So I can have an app that takes me directly to the actual site itself. So we can have quick, easy access from our SharePoint sites directly within Teams, which of course is going to give you quick, easy access to your files as well. So if I need a file, I can come here instead of going to SharePoint to access it. So we have that full connectivity. But let's get a little bit deeper into sharing and working with these files. On the left-hand side, I am in the updated version of Microsoft Teams. The reason I kind of set it that way is because they've made a couple of changes to Microsoft Teams recently. On the left-hand side, it used to say Files. It now says OneDrive. If I click my OneDrive icon here in Teams, it's going to show me OneDrive. It takes me directly into my OneDrive, where on the right-hand side, I'm looking at my recent files. So here's that file that I was just working on, sales for 2024. Here's the Excel dashboards file. As a matter of fact, there's two of them because I did a save as in a different physical location. Here's this file. So you can see all these recent files, and they can actually be coming from SharePoint, from Teams, or directly in my OneDrive. I love having this access, but let me take you just a little bit further on this. I'm going to open OneDrive directly from my internet browser. So back on my internet browser, when I log into my Microsoft account, on the left-hand side, I can go to my apps launcher and I can open up OneDrive from here. So if I want to use it directly through my Microsoft account, because maybe I'm not sitting at my desk, Maybe I'm at somebody else's site and I need to get access to a file. I just log in on the internet. As long as I know my username and password, I can access these files. So you can see it looks the same as what I just showed you coming from Microsoft Teams, but I'm physically in OneDrive. On the left-hand side, you can see that it says add new. So if I wanted to add a new file like we've seen before, I could do that. But what I want to show you is I'm on the home category. From the home category, I have these files that are pinned up at the top. Then I'm seeing all my recent files. But if I just want to see PowerPoint files, I could filter just to see PowerPoint by clicking on any one of these. Or on the left-hand side, if I click Files, this is going to show me every folder and every file that I have saved within my OneDrive. OneDrive by default is for you and only you. Nobody else has access to it unless you share something with somebody else. But what you're going to see is here's that accounts payable. Remember when I was in my team and I said I wanted my accounts payable files to be available through OneDrive? I said add a shortcut. Here it is. I can do that right here through OneDrive. If I click on the name of that folder, you're going to see exactly the same files as you did when I was in Microsoft Teams. Okay. But I'm going to jump back to my files again because there's a lot of files. Any of these that have this little person in this arrow, these are all ones that I have shortcuts to coming from Teams or SharePoint. All of these coming from Teams or SharePoint. This legal documents is actually coming from the clinic site. It's a document library called legal documents. So I can have access to it. Here's that Excel dashboards that I just copied over. It's right here. So I don't have to be in one specific location to have access to all these files. But if I'm in an actual OneDrive file, so let me go back to my files. And let's say that I'm just going to scroll down and I have all these different files here. I'm going to right click on this company orders file. I don't get exactly the same things as you're going to get in SharePoint. I don't get alert me because they're my files. Why do I need to set up an alert when I'm the only one that's really using them? So we're not going to get those types of features, but we do get version history. So if I want to go back to a previous version of something that I work with, I have that ability of being able to do that. I do have some automate features. I can request a sign off. So that feature is available now through OneDrive. That was actually a recent addition to OneDrive. So I'm really happy to have that here. But you're going to see that you get rename, you get your typical delete, and all these other wonderful features that we're seeing in those other applications as well within SharePoint document libraries or Teams. So we have full capability of being able to manage our files, very different than what we used to use in the past with network drives. We have more secure and easy to manage and easier to access information. It's easier for the IT department. It's easier for us personally because we don't have to bribe them to get something off the backup drive. We just do our version history and we can control getting access back to that. But what you're going to see when you're looking at the top of this, the top menu, if you don't have something selected, there isn't any tools to use. But as soon as you select something, you will have the tools going across the top. Okay, so we could open it, we could share it. We don't have to right click. We could just be going to the menu at the top here as well. But the other things I want to point out on the left-hand side is it has this category called shared. I like this because you can filter it based on files that were shared with you versus files that were shared by you. So these are the files that I have shared. And I have the rights to share it with people outside of my organization. So if you have that right as well, you could be sharing your files. So if I go back to my OneDrive, to my files, if I have a file that I want to share with other people, all I have to do is go to that file, right click. I don't even have to technically right click, but if I go to this share icon, it allows me to copy a link to paste it into an email and share it that way, or I can choose who do I want to share this with. So if I want to share it with my coworker, student one, On the right-hand side is a pencil. And this, by the way, is the same in SharePoint and Teams. So if you go to share a file with SharePoint or Teams, this works the same. If you go to this pencil, by default, they can edit the file, but if you want them just to be able to view it, they can't make changes. Or what if you don't want them to download it and save it on their computer? You could choose that as well. So make the choice, type in your message. If you want to type an email, have this, email a link to them, type in a message, then click send. Otherwise, just click copy link, paste it into an email or wherever you need it to be, and whoever has access to that link will have access to that file. So just so you know, you can do that. So now this is a shared file with that specific person. So it's great that we have this OneDrive capability for you to save your files to. It's cloud-based, so it gives us some additional benefits being cloud-based. And I'll talk about a few more when I get to File Explorer here in a minute. But I think it's wonderful to be able to access my SharePoint or my Teams files directly through OneDrive as well. So I can kind of get to everything from OneDrive. I can't get to everything in one document library in SharePoint or Teams, but from OneDrive, you can, as long as you have that shortcut to OneDrive. But also on the left-hand side, you can do a favorite to a file. When you hesitate on a file or right-click on a file or folder, you have the capability of doing a favorites. If you want to save something as a favorite, you can mark it as favorite and it's going to show up in the favorites category. So files that you're working on right now could be saved that way. Also, a SharePoint site, Microsoft OneDrive, they all have a recycle bin as well. So the recycle bin, as you can see, these are files that I've recently deleted. If I want to restore them, I can come back in and restore them. It does allow you to come back and restore it. I think we get 90 days by default, but your company can change that as well. But we can always go back to the recycle bin and restore our files if we need to. Otherwise, they will automatically be deleted after a period of time, just so you know that that's capable. And then also on the left-hand side, we have this quick access. So if I save something to the quick access, like when I was in SharePoint, I can have quick access to a document library or a site, different things like that. I have the clinic legal documents. I have the clinic SharePoint site. I have my accounting department. So I can get access to my SharePoint or my Microsoft Teams directly here under this quick access as well. I just love that capability of being able to do that. So if I click clinic legal documents, here's my legal documents again. Otherwise, I could access it through the home or the my files as well. Lots of ways to access the same things. I think that's pretty cool. But let's get into a couple of additional features using OneDrive. This was OneDrive going directly to the app, which, by the way, and I just did this yesterday. I had a meeting that I needed to do and I was out of the office and I needed to go into a specific file for my OneDrive, or I could do SharePoint or Teams right on my phone as well. But I opened that OneDrive file directly on my phone the other day. And then I was doing a Teams meeting and shared that file in the Teams meeting. So I don't have to drag my computer with me all the time. I can do things directly from a tablet or from my mobile device. But I want to show you File Explorer. File Explorer, especially in Windows 11, has been kind of updated to the more modern technology of the way that we use other applications. So basically, it's going to have the same type of a ribbon menu at the top. I have a condensed one right now, but when I come into File Explorer, on my left-hand side, I've got my business OneDrive. So when I'm on my business OneDrive, which I use all the time, here are all my folders and all of my files, just like I was seeing directly through the online app. So I can be doing this directly through File Explorer. There's a couple of things though that are going to be different, just so you're aware they're not 100%, exactly the same. If you go to a file within your OneDrive through File Explorer, right-click on that file, you're going to see you get a pop-up menu, but that menu is not the same. You're going to see across the top, you can do your typical cut, copy, paste. You also have the capability of clicking share from here. Because of the fact that it's OneDrive, I do have that sharing capability directly here. I could delete it, that kind of thing. I could go to open, I could share it this way. Um, but what I wanted to point out on this right click is, what if you know you're going to be without an internet connection? I'm going to be going to a specific location with my laptop. I don't have internet connection, but I'm going to be needing access to this file. When you have files in OneDrive like this, you can actually left click, or I should say, right click on the name of the file, left click on always keep on this device. What that is going to do, it is changing the status column. So you could see these all have clouds. This one has this green circle with the check mark in it, telling me that this particular file is available if I'm offline. I can make changes to it. As soon as I reconnect, it's going to automatically sync this file back into my OneDrive how it normally would be. So if you have specific files that you need to have access to when you're going out of town, or, for the weekend, whatever the case might be, do this. But you don't want to do it to everything. I have had people make the mistake of trying to do this to absolutely everything in their OneDrive, and sometimes they'll actually crash, or they'll go and try and open up a file and it doesn't work. It's too slow because we have too much in there. So it's not something that you're going to use for absolutely every file that you have in your OneDrive. It's really specifically for just certain things as you need them. Then when you come back and it syncs back up, go back and right click on the files again. So if I had 10 files, that's okay, or 20 files or a folder, I'm okay with that. But when I'm done, I go, and this needs to become a habit. When you're done, go back and right click again, click on always keep on this device, and it's no longer going to be syncing to be available offline. Okay. So we don't want to have it not be accessible. So really only do that with the files that you're going to need at that specific time, and then come back and release it again. Okay. That's if you don't have internet connection, but it's still great that we can actually do that. And if you have any shared files with OneDrive, multiple people, of course, can be in them doing live collaboration, just like we do if we're in a Microsoft Teams file or if we're in a SharePoint file. We still get that capability of being able to work with those files with other people in them, which is fantastic. But kind of stepping back and saying, okay, where should I save my files? If the file is just for you, something that you're tracking, something that you're doing, OneDrive is set up, for me, it's set up as my default place that I save my files to. So if I go to PowerPoint, Word, Excel, whatever, if I go to save a file, it defaults to OneDrive. But of course, if I wanted to save it someplace else, I could. So if it's just for you, OneDrive. Can you share it? Yes. But as soon as you share it with a coworker and then another coworker needs access to it or whatever, that's when you need to stop and think, should it be in Teams or in a existing SharePoint document library? You want to stop and think about that, because as soon as you're sharing it with a couple people, it might be a couple more, and then it defeats the purpose of really having it in OneDrive. So SharePoint is for sharing with other people. OneDrive is for OneDrive. Teams is like SharePoint, so it's for sharing, because that's where we really go to collaborate with others. That's kind of our go-to. So my recommendation would be just for you, OneDrive 100%. But if you're going to share it with others, is there already a team or a channel that it could go to? Or is there a SharePoint site that it really should go to? If you need extra permission on it so that only specific people need access to it, we could do that in a document library on a folder level if we needed to. There's other security measures that can be added in if you need to. Plus, once it's in SharePoint or Teams, you're going to have access to other capabilities with the file, like that wonderful alert me, which when you're having multiple people working with a file, what if they accidentally delete it? You know, if they're going to your file and they're deleting it, or they accidentally make changes to it, you'll have version history, of course, which is fantastic. But I really like having alert me options. But some of these, you're going to get the same features no matter which of the three you use. But find the best place that's going to be good for what you personally need. What is it that you need? That's where it should be. Okay. But the best part is you can access it from lots of different locations. With the OneDrive files, I use File Explorer the most. I don't always need all the bells and whistles with OneDrive. I don't necessarily go to my account. Like when I was logged in and I went to my OneDrive through my Microsoft account, I usually do not use it that way. To be honest, I use it the most. If I'm not in File Explorer, I use it through Microsoft Teams the most because I am in Microsoft Teams all day long. And if I was working on something on a call or a calendar appointment or, anything like that, and I need a file, I just go to OneDrive and I open it. So it's there. I know it's going to be there. Okay. So, Jason, did we have anybody with any questions on whether it's SharePoint, Microsoft Teams, or OneDrive when it comes to working with these files?
No questions right now. No.
Okay. Well, let's give everybody a minute and see if we have anybody come up with any questions. Otherwise, let me go ahead and mention just a couple of other things when it comes to working with these files. I'm going to go back to my OneDrive through my File Explorer here real quick. If I go to my OneDrive, not an actual folder or file, if I go to my left-hand side and go to my OneDrive, if I right click on my OneDrive, I'm going to also see all these different features. What I really don't want you to be doing is always keep on this device for your entire OneDrive, just so you could see. It's not something that you really should be doing. Instead, you're going to be better off. Let me minimize this. You're going to be better off going to your OneDrive through a cloud-based or access it through your phone. Only if you know you're not going to have internet connection, do the onesie twosie files, but not everything. Okay. Anybody come up with any questions that you want to ask us today? Otherwise, we can probably go ahead and continue.
All right, we're going to move on if there's something that comes up forward. So again, please check out our other TNP trainings at the www.thenetworkpro.net. Go to the Learn IT with TNP tab on our webpage and click on trainings, and you will see a variety of amazing training content from, again, ChatGPT, Outlook, SharePoint, Teams, OneNote, cybersecurity. JoLynn's done most of these for us, so always does a fantastic job. So appreciate that. Here's our contact information. Kevin Studley is our Director of Regional Sales. Adana Williams, our Director of Technical Account Management in Arizona. These webinars are done free of charge because we believe this is valuable information to you and one of the pieces that helps us accomplish our mission. If you did find this webinar valuable, all that we ask that you pay the admission fee of sending this to a friend. And to be sure that you don't miss any upcoming webinars, scan the QR code that's there on the screen and sign up to be included on our invite list for technology training. So thank you, everyone, for your time. Have a great week. JoLynn, as usual, thank you. We'll see you next month, and happy April.
Sounds good. Thanks, everyone. See you next time.
Yeah.
Thanks, Jason.
Thank you.